Okay, let's take a look at this question. It's a more than less than question. So how do you recognize that? Let's take a look. So first of all, Tom had 105 more than Ken. After Tom spent 1/3 of his money and Ken spent half of his, Tom had $80 more than Ken. How much money did each of them have at first? So there's an initial condition, which is I have some more than you or less than you. There's a change, and then after that, there is a final condition. Okay, so let's draw the model first to let us understand this a bit better. So Tom and Ken. So Tom had 105 more than Ken. So this is Tom's model and this is Ken's model. So Tom had 105 more than Ken. So these two parts are the same. This and this are the same. So this is 1 unit. This is 1 unit. Now, if you do not understand this, pause the video and ask for my help, alright? Because the rest of the question, the solution will depend on this model, and you need to understand that this part is the same. These two parts are the same, and this is actually 105 more than this. So this is the way to do it. Write down Tom, write down Ken, and write down at first over here. So it's important for you to somehow have a kind of a table that will separate them. So Tom, Ken, and what happened at first. So at first, Tom had 1 unit plus 105. And Ken had 1 unit. So then we look at the change. So Tom spent 1/3 of his money, so spent, and Ken spent half of his money. Okay, so you have to understand this line as well, otherwise please ask for my help. Stop the video and ask for my help. And then after that, there is the leftover amount, which is if I spend 1/3, therefore I have 2/3 left. If I spend half, therefore I have half left. Okay, so the next step is a bit tricky and you need to get yourself ready as well. So basically we have left with this 2/3 amount and we need to figure out how much is it that Tom has left. So we need to take 2/3 multiply by 1 unit and 2/3 multiply by 105. So we need to take the half multiply by 1 unit. So that means it becomes 2/3 unit plus 70. So this 70 comes from 2/3 multiplied by 105. So I take half times 1 unit is half unit. So if we look at the next line, after they have spent the amount, Tom had $80 more than Ken. So Tom had $80 more than Ken. So who has more money, Tom or Ken? So Tom has more money, right? So Ken plus $80 will then be equals to Tom. So if you move it down here, move the $80 here, so therefore Ken, whatever is left with, which is half unit, I need to plus $80, and that will be equals to whatever Tom has. Again, if you don't understand this line, pause the video and ask for my help, because you need to understand this line in order to proceed with the question. So now then we are going to do some rearranging. We're going to put all the units on one side and all the numbers on one side. So I'm going to move the half unit over here. This is a plus, so it becomes a minus when it's moved over here. So it's 2/3 unit minus half unit equals, I need to take the 70 and move it here, 80 minus 70, right? Okay, this is a 70. So 2/3 minus half, you get 1/6 units equals to 10. And the question is asking how much money did each of them have at first. So at first, Tom had 1 unit plus 105, Ken had 1 unit. So let's look for 1 unit equals to 10 times 6 equals 60. So Tom at first had 1 unit 1 unit plus 105, which is equals to 60 plus 105 equals 165. And Ken had 1 unit equals to 60. Alright? Okay, so that's how you solve this question. There are a few important things that you have to do. First of all, please draw your model. It will make it really much easier to understand. Alright, this is not a model drawing question. However, drawing the model makes it way easier for you to understand. The second thing you need to do is to come up with the table. So you need to create this table with this. First, change left and this, and create this equation. Okay, so at first they had 1u plus 105, 1u, then the change is 1/3 because I spent 1/3, I spent half. I'm left with this, so I need to take my 2/3 and multiply these two numbers. And then this is the third key thing you have to understand from this question. So Tom had $80 more than Ken. So Tom had $80 more than Ken. So if I want to make them equal, I need to add $80 to Ken, then they can become equal. Alright, and only when they become equal, then I can solve the question, because otherwise I cannot solve for my 1u. So I have 16u equals to 10, 1u equals to 10 times 6 equals 60. So this part, there is going to be some shifting around this line. Alright, so make sure you understand what is going on in this line. If you don't, just ask me. And so you find 1u. After you find 1u, then you look for 1u plus 105 and 1u equal, and 1u for Tom and Ken. So this is another similar one. A baker baked 124 more chocolate cookies than almond. He sold some amount and sold some amount, and total he had 66. How many cookies were sold all together? Okay, let's take a look. So 124 more chocolate cookies than almond cookies. So chocolate and almond. So you have to understand who has more and who has less. So chocolate is this and almond is this. So he had 124 more chocolate than almond. So this becomes 1u, this becomes 1u. So again, please draw this model just to let you understand who has more and who has less, and how do you make this thing work out. So he sold 3/4 of his chocolate cookies. So again, I have chocolate, I have almond, draw a straight line, and right here at first. So at first chocolate, I had 1u plus 1, 2, 4. And almond, I have 1u. So what is my change? So my change is I sold 3/4 of my chocolate cookies. So I sold 3/4 of my chocolate cookies and 2/3 of my almond cookies. So I need to figure out what was left. So left is 1/4 and left is 1/3. And then I total 66 cookies. So a little bit of math now. I need to take this 1/4 multiply by the 1u, 1/4 multiplied by 124, and 1/3 multiplied by this. So after a while, you realize it's always the same steps. So 1/4 times 1u is 1/4 u. 1/4 times 124 is 31. And 1/3 times 1 is 1/3 u. So after that, they had a total of 66 cookies left. So what that means is left, so this plus this equals 66. Okay, so what's left with chocolates and what's left with almonds add together is 66. So then I have to solve for this. So I need to take 1/4 plus 1/3 u. That is 7/12u equals to, and I need to take my 31 and move it here. Alright, so plus becomes minus. So it becomes 66 minus 31 equals 35. So 7u is 35. And I want number of cookies sold all together, so that is 12u, so 12u equals to 12 divided by 7 times 35 equals 60 cookies. Alright, so now that we are doing this the second time, you realize this part is actually quite the same. Okay, it's quite formulaic. After a while you get used to it. This part is also quite the same. You just move all the u's to one side, all the numbers to one side. Look at the question, see carefully what's happening, and then try and plus them together or minus them together, and then equals to some number. And then all this part is just math. If you don't understand, don't worry, I will teach you how to do this.